What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Juice. My name is Sayre Bedinger, and here with me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, everybody's favorite, Brandon Keckler. How
Favorite.
you doing, man?
I'm great, man. Everybody's favorite. Oh, look at
Yeah.
me blushing over here.
Look at that. Look at that. I love it, man. Dude, we are super close to Denver Broncos Training Camp 2018.
You know what? It's crazy, man. We went through like a wormhole. We had to have gone
We
through a
did.
wormhole. Um,
We did.
because that just zipped by. I thought that was gonna be I thought that was gonna be like four times as long as it's felt. But here we are, man. We're
Yeah.
right back on the cusp.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, sometimes you worry about how quickly time is going by, and then other times you're like, "Wow, this is kind of nice. Here's another football season upon us
Yep.
already." The
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore Ravens are already back at training camp. More on them later. uh, you and I talked a little bit in the pre-show. I was reading something about the Baltimore Ravens today that made me jealous. So we'll talk about that later on in the show. But today we are going to be going through and previewing the Denver Broncos defense, the revamped Orange Crush, the team,
Come on,
uh,
baby.
the part of the team that literally carried the offense through Super Bowl 50, a championship, the third title in Denver Broncos history. The defense was the reason, and the defense still has a lot of great pieces. And I would contend this defense on paper maybe as good as that 2015 group. Maybe there's a lot of things that have to work out, but
And it's not a position by position thing. It's
correct.
like it's maybe an equally strong organism, but it's a different beast made up of some similar molecules, but
Yes,
it's an ultimately a different beast.
that
You
is
know,
a great way to put it.
we may not have the past defense that we did. We may not be up to par at that level. We may get back to that at the pass rush though.
Mm,
Then beyond those two, we have a run D that blows away the
just
2015.
just ridiculous run defense. Looking at those numbers, man. Last year, we'll give some stats later on. This is primed to be a big episode because the defense is the reason for optimism in Broncos country. I mean, obviously, the addition of Case Keenum brings, some balance to the overall health of the team, but the defense is the team's strength by far. And so we're going to get into some details as we go along. But Brandon, I kind of wanted to start off the show. There's a lot of talk in the media nowadays about Broncos ownership, and for me personally, I've been kind of putting it off as it's something that, like, for me in a lot of different areas of life, it's something that I'll push to the side and be like, well, that's not affecting anything now, so why would I think about it right now? I'll think about it when it's making a big difference, but it's obviously a pressing topic, and it's something to monitor, and it's kind of similar right now for me along the lines of, the stadium naming rights, which I don't really necessarily care about. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. I'm not a huge fan of what they've chosen. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
and that's that bland sign.
yeah, it could have. It couldn't be more bland. It's the football equivalent of the "It is your birthday" sign from The Office that
Yeah,
Dwight
you're
puts
right.
up.
And very quickly, without just really talking too much about that, it does. You want top to bottom excellence, like, and that does just give you a like an impression of like, yeah, we just threw this up here.
Yeah,
Come on, man. Like,
it's Velcro.
how many great, how many great, like okay, there's a service that you can do. There's a bunch of them, but there's one called Fiverr, and you do little gigs, like you put your skills out there, and you can say like, all right, for $5, I'll draw you this picture.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, Broncos could have gone on Fiverr and probably
Give them
paid
a
five
fiver.
bucks to some guy to do them a graphic logo design that would have blown that one out of the water,
Yeah.
you know? So to me, there's just no excuse. Not in
No,
2018 for that sign.
absolutely not. That's a marketing fail.
It doesn't look vintage or retro in any good way. It's
No,
just it's just bland. It's lifeless. And
it
we're
really
moving
is.
away from lifeless, man.
We
We're
are. We're moving from death to life.
we are.
We are. We have to. And so along those lines, I'm just my mind works in mysterious ways. I don't know why thoughts pop into my head the way that they do, but things were connected today. When I read this report, you'll see where I'm going here pretty quickly. So obviously, for any Broncos fan, I think that the ideal scenario, and I don't even know how realistic this is because I'm not super plugged into the situation. I don't know much about, Pat Bowen's board of trustees. I don't know much about the intricacies of that whole inner
politics.
Yeah, the politics of it. I think that everyone could agree. We'd like to see John Elway make his way up into some type of at least minority ownership role. I think every Broncos fan is pretty much in agreement there. Yeah. Well, I read this article today that Maverick Carter, the business partner of LeBron James.
Can I just say that's an incredible name?
Maverick Carter is.
I'm thinking like I would. Ooh, that's good. I would name a character that in that position. Mm-hmm. Somebody that's like a team owner, entrepreneur, wealthy, like,
that's LeBron James' real life business.
Renaissance man that just dominates everything. And just Maverick Carter. That just sounds like made up. I almost don't believe you.
It does. Yeah, that's what I know. Yeah, you got to look it up. That's what it says right here. Maverick Carter. So LeBron James' business partner and future Brandon Keckler story character, Maverick Carter. Maverick Carter said that LeBron is making plans for post basketball. Obviously, LeBron just signed a 4-year mega contract with the Los Angeles Lakers, and you could see, I mean, this is all I'm saying. He said, 10 years from now, I know LeBron will be owning a basketball team or maybe even a football team. He does like football, and he's looked at football ownership, so he'll be owning a basketball team and running it. I'm thinking a little Magic Johnson scenario. I know that people, including myself, am not fully aboard the LeBron James train, but
no, give it to me.
His son does play for the Broncos in your Madden franchise.
Give it to me. Yeah, not only is LeBron James Jr. Just a future Ring of Famer. That would be awesome because I want there's so many ways that the owner decision could be really bland.
Yes.
It's like, okay, well, this guy, I think there's a high stakes, high price thing going on with us right now.
Yeah, you see where I'm going with this.
We're a huge question mark, and yet we're a huge high value, and we're actually I think what a lot of people are salivating probably about this situation is we're very much an untapped value.
Absolutely.
We're a very underrated value,
yes.
both as a football team and I think as a franchise. There's a lot of intangibles that I think factor into the situation that go into that value and probably go into that rating. But I would love if it was not a boring final decision and that it was somebody like LeBron that came and was the owner of the Broncos. That's a storyline, man. I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
As much as okay, so for some context here, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. In 2010, I sat listening to ESPN radio, waiting for LeBron James to make his decision, hoping beyond all hope that he would choose the Chicago Bulls. And he didn't, obviously, and thus was birthed my irrational hatred for LeBron James. Yeah. And so I've always had this kind of disdain towards him, not only for that, but because after that, he's kind of just owned the Eastern Conference, preventing the Bulls from being anything, including the best years that they could have had with Derrick Rose, yada, yada, yada. Anyway,
right.
How cool would it be if 10 years from now, the co-owners of the Denver Broncos were John Elway and LeBron
James? That would be – it's too good to be true.
It is. I know.
That's like the Broncos being the one team out of 32 to draft Tim Tebow.
Yes.
Oh, snap.
Imagine that happening twice in our lifetime. Tim Tebow comes in, the team chaplain.
Yeah. I mean, you look at once again, this is I don't remember which episode we talked about just how Broncos have had the most storybook. They're the most storybook team in the past 10 something years. And bam, so we get, Elway comes back, saves the team, gets Tebow years, Peyton Manning, and then LeBron and Elway come and take over and rule the team. Like, that's just, someone in Hollywood's writing that script.
They are. And speaking of Peyton Manning, I mean, there's a lot of money to be thrown around here. You could throw Peyton.
Why don't we have a Peyton Manning, John Elway, LeBron James, super trifecta, Triforce?
I mean, dude, can you imagine the marketability of the Denver Broncos is already pretty strong. I mean,
they announce it with a photo of each of them holding one of the trophies.
Oh my gosh! All right. Now
I can't handle, man. This is too
I'm gonna have to do some concept art for that. I've been drawing a lot with my daughter lately. Re-picking up a skill that I had in like high school and early in college. I'm gonna draw that up. I'm gonna draw a picture of John Elway, Peyton Manning, and LeBron James holding Lombardi trophies as representation that they just bought.
This one's for Braun. I'm the first in the world to say it. This one's for Braun.
Oh my gosh. All right. Now I'm fully on board. I am now fully on board with this idea. This one's for Braun. That is amazing. All right.
I'm gonna we gotta look ASAP at Twitter.
Yeah.
And type that in with and without the hashtag. I gotta see, man, because I mean we could have just tapped into the future right there.
Dude, I just went on Twitter.
Need to lay down. Yeah. Go ahead.
This one's for Braun. Oh, I was just gonna say I just went on Twitter and the picture at the top is a picture of John Elway with Jim Kelly. This one's for Braun. I don't see it.
Type the hashtag.
Hashtag.
This one's for Braun, and then type it by itself with spaces.
Nothing.
Dude.
Neither. That's it. The first time it's been uttered.
Yep. I just created that, and it's gonna. The future's coming, baby.
Wow. Amazing. Well, see, I knew that would take us. A good direction.
That was a good surprise first question.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic it is. Again, I mean, it's not realistic because LeBron is still playing basketball and he's playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, and the prospect of him owning an NFL team would take, just crazy amount of time. But it is interesting to me, the timing with all this, news about, the Denver Broncos, they're going to need new ownership. They're going to need someone to run the team. I don't know how likely it is that any of the bowling children, there's 7 of them, right? I mean,
you buy it now, you appoint some baller business head, whoever's in charge of LeBron Empire,
Maverick Carter or something.
Dude, put Maverick Carter in there, man.
Yep.
And have him run it until you retire.
I'm on board.
Let Maverick be the surrogate to Braun.
Yep. I feel like right now I'm gonna be disappointed if that doesn't happen.
I'm about ready to end this podcast and go on Madden and create LeBron James as an owner. Right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Maybe that's one of the things I'm gonna do when Madden 19 comes out.
Look at that.
Preview. We'll be talking about that later in the probably not this episode, but the next episode. Madden 19's coming.
The juices are flowing. Madden 19 is coming, which
a whole new Brandon Keckler storyline is going to be birthed.
Yeah, it is.
A whole new alternate universe.
The end of one era.
End of an era. Yeah, I got 2 weeks. I got 2 weeks left to play my storyline. I'm in the 2033 season, 2034 playoffs.
Wow.
And I'm in the divisional round right now, and it's getting spicy. But I have to say goodbye to these teams and players pretty soon, as I let their alternate universe fade out and create a new one with Madden 19. And I'm excited to find out what the heck's going on with the Devin Wade continuation campaign.
Yeah,
I guess he's got that continuation story. So
yeah, that's going to be really cool.
The last one segued pretty nice because it ended with you either getting drafted or signed as an undrafted free agent to a team, like going on as a walk-on. And then you got to just start up franchise mode and load those guys in. So I wonder how it's going to work. Like, is this going to be where you're playing him but you get to select the team you want to put him on. And then you're basically playing through like a first season of his career, and they make a storyline of his first season. And then each year perchance they do something to where it's like, then it's Devin Wade's second season in Madden 20.
Yeah.
And if you want to continue the story, you continue with the franchise, but they at least give you like the first season to start off as a story. I have no idea. I haven't looked that up yet, but that's how I do it.
Very interesting to see. I found myself sitting there last summer watching the entire somebody, because I enjoy watching people play video games.
You should watch me play it this year.
I should.
Because I can broadcast anytime. I can go on Mixer and just like throw it on, and then I shoot you a link, and you can watch it.
Do it. I would do that. I would do that. Absolutely, I would do that. Let's do that. Let's plan it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because it's like, I wonder if they I have no idea what they're going to do, because if they put him on a specific team, like they can't really like where are the cinematic scenes going to be when it's like, what if you choose the Packers? You know, like are they going to have they don't have every single, you know, like NFL quarterback like contributing voice and motion capture. So I wonder what they're doing. It's a lot harder. It's a lot easier to do him on a reality show for training camp. You know, I don't know if I doubt it'll be mid-season. Actually, it's gonna be interesting.
That is gonna be interesting. I know I'll be interested to see it unfold. And as usual, I mean, Madden finding ways to keep people interested. You know,
they got a guy running the whole thing, a brand new guy.
Really,
so I want to see some new vision, man. I want to see some inspiration.
Yeah, they've got a lot of angry people about there being no NCAA football game to satisfy. Those people need to be satisfied by the game.
I think they at least scratched that itch with those people to a degree, because they're going to do that whole custom draft boards.
Oh, that's right. The custom draft boards will be really cool, because that's all that I did when I would go and buy the NCAA game. The first thing that I would do is simulate to the end of the season. But before that, I would load it in. But before that, I'd be like entering all the players' names. Like
when they didn't have the names.
Yeah. Yep. You know, that's a whole other can of worms. But
back then you couldn't edit the players once they were in.
Yep.
The thing.
Exactly.
In this what's been really cool is in the past two Maddens, you can just go to edit player on any player and change anything you want about them. Even the rating mid-season, which is really cool, because it's like there's certain times where, you know, to advance the story, like there's a wide receiver and he made a huge leap forward, but then didn't get the points necessarily. But it's like if anyone had that kind of season the next year in Madden, he'd be like a freaking 94 at least. So I'll cheat a little bit and advance it. But part of it is like I build multiple teams up. So it's always just, you know, building up the antagonists.
Exactly.
Making sure there's the right amount of conflict.
That's right. You got to have an equal or almost equal opposite reaction to your protagonist, you know?
Right.
Well, Brandon, the defense for the Denver Broncos is it's really something. I mean, I've gone in and I've previewed every position on predominantlyorange.com. So for those of you who are listening, you can go to predominantlyorange.com and search any position name in our search bar, and you'll come up with a position preview. And we've also we tweeted every single one of them out tonight, and so there's ways to find it. We'll keep tweeting them out and everything like that. But for every defensive position that I previewed, I feel like I wrote at some point in those previews that this could be the deepest position on the roster, which is really cool.
Defense
other than corner. Yeah, just the defense so defensive line, outside linebackers, inside linebackers, cornerbacks, safeties, everything separated.
They're all deep.
Aside from cornerback, I think I wrote in all of them at some point like this could be the deepest position on the team. And I mean I can't disagree with that. There's nothing. I don't know if I could be convinced that that's not the case. You look at the Broncos defensive line. There's 7, 8 guys who will be playing on NFL rosters this year. I mean, you start to get to the point here where you're looking at guys that will be contributing on other people's teams.
Yeah, Right.
and they'll be solid contributors like a guy like
a great problem to have.
It is a great problem to have because the Broncos, that's how they won Super Bowl 50. Just insane depth on the defensive line. I mean, you remember Vance Walker. Vance Walker at defensive end he's not going down in Broncos lore as one of the best players of in team history, but he was a perfect fit for that defense in 2015, and I think that they've got even more of those type of guys this year,
Right.
At every position, which is really cool.
Yeah, and one thing I was thinking about the defense today, and it was Joe Woods specifically, was and Joe Woods, and you can apply the same kind of mentality to Vance Joseph, is that second season, I'm really giving them full clean slate, and the way that I'm looking at it is, some TV shows. They may show signs in their first season. There's some good stuff on. Sometimes it takes till season 2 to kind of find your legs, and then the show goes from, maybe being kind of inconsistent to taking that time, that break between season 1 and season 2 to address what went right and what went wrong.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of shows that have blossomed in their second season. There's some that there's a sophomore slump. There's a lot that stumble, but I think we did the stumbling already in season 1, but despite the conflict and the controversy, John Elway decided to renew season 2. And I think that with Joe Woods, I really want to see him look at what he did right and what he didn't, and Vance Joseph as well. And I'm going to give them a full chance this year to come into this with the clean slate and come into this with, trusting that they're going to have put that work in that self-awareness to figure out, what exactly they need to do to bring this freaking Orange Crush defense
absolutely
back to glory.
Absolutely. Is there anything that stands out in your mind as, okay, this is one thing that I know Joe Woods has to do better in 2018?
I want to see turnovers, man, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I want to see some bangers, man. I want to see some some hits. I want to see some I want to see some points off some turnovers. I want to see some Von Miller strip sacks. I want to see a full frontal assault from this front seven, man. Like, just attack.
Yep.
Yeah. I think turnovers was a major thing that was a big drop off from last year, right?
It was. The Broncos as a team turned the ball over 34 times. Yeah, second most in the league. But their defense, it's hard to overcome an offense that's that bad. Defense had half as many turnovers created, which is not ideal. 17 turnovers created last year, which is abnormal to me. Just to even look at that number, I have to cross-reference here. Like Von Miller with only 2 forced fumbles. What's the deal with that? That doesn't make any sense. Aqib Talib had 1 interception last year. Von Miller, the last time he had fewer than at least 3 forced fumbles in a season was 2014.
So I was watching something earlier today. Yeah, and it was actually not from today, but I watched it today. It's a clip on YouTube of the Good Morning Football talking Broncos.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And they were discussing, if we're good enough to. And there was actually a few different things I watched in a row, so these might blend together. But they were talking about whether the Broncos have enough to take the division. And one of the things that they were saying was, they were talking a lot of the highlights and the good points that we've covered here. One of the things they're saying is, one, they would give them the division if they weren't so scared of the O-line, was something that I thought was really interesting. And then beyond that, they said that they want to see if the team has chemistry together.
Yeah.
Or they crown them any higher than 7-9 or 8-8 was what they were saying. And I think that's really interesting. And is what I am most excited about. And I know we've talked about that, is like, how is this defense going to gel as a unit with its identity. You know, I think we still have enough guys around with the no-fly zone and Orange Crush and Super Bowl 50 mentality. So I think that as that is still there in a lot of those veteran players and a lot of those key pieces, especially Vaughn and Chris Harris, I think if we can maintain that mentality despite some of the drop-offs and can like reassert it this year, that's just a huge plus. It's like these plus marks across all of their ratings. You know, it's this intangible boost that we have from having that type of mentality, because when you're going out there and you're playing against people, part of it is imposing like we're the no-fly zone, you know, and we're establishing that we're the no-fly zone. And that's something that, you know, we want them thinking about in their minds going into playing us. So before that is something to where the people view the Broncos and they think like, oh, they're no longer a good defensive team, which we're not there. We're definitely not there yet. And as me and you believe, we're well on our way back to the top. But I think that is going to be key this year, is like, it seemed like we didn't have that cohesive identity in the past, both offensively especially, but also defensively, just because our team was kind of off. The mojo wasn't flowing. There was something about it, whether it was that they didn't trust that the offense was going to get the job done on the other side, or there was stuff going on in the defense as well, mixture of both. The flow needs to get back. The vision of this Orange Crush team, you know, that can dominate and take a team to a Super Bowl. I think as we improved with some of the pieces that we have, I think that if they mesh into that and buy into the lingering residue and essence of that Super Bowl 50 mentality, then I think that that's going to be a huge advantage to help us just get back to dominance on defense, which is what we need to take the AFC West back.
They desperately need it. I think that one underrated aspect of that 2015 unit is that there was obviously a lot of star power within that defense, but each and every one of those players understood their role and played it perfectly.
They were a body. They were a body, man, moving together. That team was singing. You know, like that unit, that was a force to be reckoned with, because they were on the same page. They knew who they were. They were firmly set in their identity, and they operated from it, man. And they imposed their mark upon. You felt like you rarely ever in the NFL these days feel like the defense is playing offense, man.
Right.
And that's where I'm ready. I'm ready for the Broncos 2018 to combine what they're doing, what they've been improving in the run game, defensive run game, and combine that with hopefully a much upgraded pass rush that fills the holes that we may have from the loss of Aqib Talib.
Yeah, that was definitely the toughest, I think, of the whole offseason. Losing Aqib Talib was the worst thing that happened to the Broncos from a football and you know,
what affects the passing game more? This is an honest question.
Yeah.
Aqib Talib or Bradley Chubb? What do you think would affect the 2018 season more? Is having Chubb with opposite Vaughn? Or having opposite Chris Harris?
Yeah, honestly,
it's hard to look at and think that our pass game is going to go down, which a lot of people are the grand majority of everyone is assuming. If we've got an improved pass rush and a drop off in the secondary, it may be that that equation may kick out an overall better grade, you know?
Right. Yeah, does the improved pass rush make the defensive backs better? Because like I said earlier,
it makes their job easier for sure.
It does. It absolutely does, and that's proven to be true over time in the NFL. If your pass rush is good, you're gonna create more takeaways. That's just simply put. It's just the way that it goes. So for the Denver Broncos, getting Bradley Chubb, that opens up a whole other can of worms for everybody else, because you're talking about opposing quarterbacks not having as much time to throw, maybe making some more errant throws. And I was even thinking about a way to try to word this in a post earlier. I was previewing the cornerback position, and I was trying to think of a way to word it, because losing Aqib Talib means that you're losing a lot of experience and playmaking ability at the cornerback position. But the Broncos have done so much up front in their pass rush that you may have more opportunities for turnovers this year, and guys taking better advantage of that, because for the first, first of all, quarterbacks aren't going to have as much time to throw. Secondly, they're not going to be just necessarily picking on, Bradley Roby's side of the field or whoever. They're going to have, they're going to be just throwing the ball to whomever now. They're not going to be trying to intentionally to stay away from Talib's side of the field.
Now, this is something we should add to the equation, is part of where we've improved pass defense-wise this offseason, which is that there is an area we have improved, and that's the middle of the field with both, you and I get excited about Josie Jewell. That's one potential thing in the future, is having a good athletic middle linebacker that knows how to be where you need to be. Excited about him snagging some of those low balls. But Sua Cravens. So you have two guys that are going to be, added to whoever else we have to improve that inside pass coverage, middle of the field pass coverage. That's going to make it so that there's not going to be as much traffic previously inside against us as they've been able to get away with in previous years. So I do think even if the pass rush is improved, of course it's going to be improved as the pass rush is improved this season. I think the corners are really going to be challenged. This is the defensive part of it. This is a part of our defensive team that's just like may take the blunt end of maybe some of our really bad drives this year. It may be to where they're having to make panic decisions a lot more, but they also may be like gunning for a lot of those one-on-one matchups a lot. A lot of the pressures I feel like is going to be outside on those corners.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And I love that you brought up the addition of Sua Cravens in the middle, because that brings me to the fact that the Broncos not only have to replace Talib's playmaking ability at corner, but his personality on the defense, man. That's all part of the equation. Swag City. And I tell you what, I don't think there's going to be any better trash talking duo in the NFL than Sua Cravens and Will Parks. Those guys are going to bug the crap out of everyone the Broncos play. And I think that they'll be able to back it up on the field. And Cravens alluded to, I was listening to an interview recently on Orange and Blue 760 that he appeared on, I think it was Crockett and Stout. And he alluded to the Broncos using some 4 safety formations, which excites me. That's the type of creativity I want from Joe Woods.
So season one, you pitch a TV show, you get your pilot on the air. You got your first time you're with your crew, you're writing your show, you make some mistakes, you figure some things out, you make it through, you get renewed for season 2. Here we are, Joe Woods.
Here we are.
It's time to upgrade these character arcs. It's time to bring the action. It's time to increase the antagonism. It's time to bring in the big guns, and it's time to creatively use the pieces that we have in the way that we need to where this is the guy that was the secondary coach for the no-fly zone.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like,
remember who you are, Joe Woods.
Remember who, like, is identity not the core theme right now of the 2018 off season is like, and even when you hear the talks of like, oh, and now they've got Case Keenum under center and they're going to be, going, they're going in with a guy that they know is their dude, right? As we've talked about endlessly, and as everyone's endlessly talking about right now. We got the guy, we got the team, they're excited. The players are talking about it. They're pumped. We have a vision. We have a guy to get behind. We have somebody to follow. I love everything about that element of I think our team's culture is kind of that anyway. So these past problems have been kind of like wedges in between us, dude, just spokes in we got some broken spokes in the wheel that I think we're kind of patching up, and now we're ready to move back to full cylinder Denver Bronco, Orange Crush, freaking impose your identity over the offense. It's time to make people come into, you're in Denver Bronco world.
Yeah.
You know, you're coming in, you're playing on our terms, you know, and that takes, you got to know who you are before you can impose it. You know, you may have the willpower to go in and stamp that, but if you don't even know who you are, you know, what are you stamping, man? We got to figure that out. That better have been what everything that we've been doing, you know, is figuring out that answer to that question.
They absolutely, because last year at times it seemed like the Broncos were a team with 100 different identities.
Right.
You know, they tried one week to be this team, and then the next week they tried to be this team, and didn't help.
Even the last Peyton Manning year, we had that problem.
Yeah.
The Tebow years, we had that problem. The years before that, we've had. It seems like we haven't been able to have, you know, certain teams in the NFL where, like, year in and year out, they get some tools that come in that kind of morph like a portion of their identity, you know, like an extra Zord kind of hops on and fuses into it. But it's like they've got that mojo, they've got that flow, they know who they are, you know, and usually that trickles down from
right.
But I miss that, man. And it's like, you know, I think that's the biggest fear of you going into your post Elway, post Manning years, is like, we're not just losing a crucial position, we might be losing our headship, which means we might be losing our identity. So I want some consistency. You know, I don't want it to be 2 years of Case Keenum. That's one of the things I keep growing into, is like, I'm ready for like Case to be like, dude, I'm the dude. And got, you know, I want 6 years from now, like, Broncos got this sick squad and Case Keenum's dude leading the charge, man. Like, I'm accepting that future. I'm becoming comfortable with it.
I'm not gonna be mad if that's the case, you know.
That's it.
I didn't even mean to do that.
We need to get you know, when we're really making it, we need to have one of those because somebody's on the soundboard.
Yes. Yep. Ready for the sound effects.
By the way, to everybody listening, if I sound like I'm like 4 times more attractive than previously, it's because I got a really awesome mic. I've upgraded.
That's right.
So
upgrade ya
in the next realm.
That's exciting news.
So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to deviate too far from Denver Broncos defense. Are we going anywhere else with the Denver Broncos defense first? Before we venture off topic.
I'll just quickly mention that I led off with kind of a, you know, I was jealous of the Baltimore Ravens, you know, this and that and the other, doing a little research piece because they opened training camp the day of this recording. And so I did a little research piece for another site that I write for, NFLmocks.com. And I found out that the Baltimore Ravens were 6th in the NFL last year in scoring defense. They allowed less than 19 points a game, 6th in the NFL. And then I did some more digging. Come to find out that the Baltimore Ravens led the NFL in turnovers forced. They led the NFL in interceptions. They led the NFL in turnover percentage, obviously, because they led the NFL in turnovers. And they were also 6th in the league in
Who's
time
their
of possession.
coordinator?
Their defensive coordinator, get a load of this.
I think I know, but go.
It's Dean Pease.
Okay, I didn't know.
He was once considered for the Broncos defensive coordinator position, and their linebackers coach is old Don Wink Martindale, former Denver Broncos defensive coordinator.
Oh yeah, I remember Wink.
Yep. So that was back in the Cutler McDaniels days, I believe.
Wow. Yep.
So yeah, so I was sitting there, I was jealous of the Baltimore Ravens today. Sitting there reading about their 34 turnovers, you know, Terrell Suggs and CJ Mosley forcing 7 fumbles last year.
Is there any reason why we don't have and by the way, harkening it back, that's what she said. She said they have the pieces. I don't know if they have the chemistry. That was like something she said, and I was like, we got the pieces. Let's see now which can we've seen the chemistry. Maybe that's, you know, that's the thing that maybe people are underrating about the team is, you know, yeah, maybe they got the playmakers, but we haven't really seen it click and gel.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't seen them move. No one's really doubting the Denver Broncos roster, and that's a fun place to be.
That is. That means that the possibility exists for that chemistry to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Because last year that wasn't even I mean, we could have fooled ourselves into thinking, yeah, everything's going to work out with Trevor Siemian and he's going to improve in year 2, but that possibility didn't exist last year. It exists this year.
Right.
It exists. And Von Miller going to break his own record of 18.5 sacks. I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
He's at 83.5 right now on his NFL career. He had 10 last year. The most he's had in the last 4 years is 14. He had 18.5 back in that 2012 season when Elvis Dumervil was part of the team. Last time DeMarcus Ware was on the roster, Miller had 13.5. Now Bradley Chubb is in there. And Shaquille Barrett is promising the best season of his career. And I think Von is primed for at least 18. Let's go 18, man. Come on. Von, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Prime. He's in his prime.
What's the most team sacks we've had in the past 4 years?
The most team sacks that we've had in the past 4 years. Let me look it up really quick because it's gone
off the top of your head, right?
It's gone down significantly over the past 2 seasons, which is amazing to me. Because the Broncos have, obviously, with Von Miller on the team, they're known for their ability to get to the quarterback, especially late in games. But that overall sack number has been pretty weak relative to what we saw in 2015. Here's the number. Okay, in 2015, Denver had a league high 52 interceptions. Number one, or not interceptions, excuse me. That would be incredible. I would love 52 interceptions. Please make it happen.
That's a lot.
I would love 52 interceptions. Make it happen.
Fuck.
I don't even think you could do that on Madden.
Yeah, it's like 3 to 4. It's like 3 to 4 every game.
Right? That's awesome. Yeah, at least 3 because 30 plus 27. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So not 27. I suck at math, dude. Whatever. 30 plus 6 times 3, 18, 48. It's not even enough.
I got a calculator in my pocket, unlike what every teacher in my life told me about my future.
You will never have a calculator with you. Yep. So league high 52 sacks in 2015.
52 sacks.
The year before that, when DeMarcus Ware signed on, they had 41. So I mean, 41 is on a year-to-year basis, that will get you in the top 5 to 10. So
what's the NFL sack record
for like a record for
season.
Individual
season? Yeah. Let's
see. Let's find out. Individual sacks became an official statistic in 1982. Michael Strahan holds the record.
2021.
Yeah, 22.5. Michael Strahan in 2001. That record has stood for far too long, Vaughn. Far too long. Man. 2001. That's what we're looking at there. Gosh, but the Broncos, I mean,
you gotta have some filthy games where you just we gotta get some of those matchups to where they can't really scheme against us.
Right.
That's the thing. It's how much are they gonna teeter it toward allowing Chubb to shoot the unprotected foot? You know, that's where it's what do you have? Okay, so I think I'm pulling for Shaq to go let's say 7 or 8 sacks. And then, Chubb, 14.5?
That's the rookie record.
That's the rookie record?
NFL rookie sack record.
14.5?
Belongs to Javon Curse from 1999. And let me just double check it here.
I'm about to move it to 15 then if that's the case, trying to get Chubb up over.
Yep. I mean, Javon Curse 14.5 is the NFL rookie record. Dwight Freeney came close. He had 13 in 2002. But nobody else has come that close. So
see, and then it's all going to teeter between if Vaughn breaks the record, Chubb's got 11 sacks. And then if Vaughn gets 20, 19, 20, Chubb closes in close to that rookie record.
Right.
That's my bold prediction. And then Shaq
That
7.
would be incredible.
I think Shane Ray comes back and has more sacks in his short period of time on average than Shaq had while he was in. I think Shane comes out, plays violent, and lights out, and goes and signs with some other team and becomes their top pass rusher.
I could see that happening for sure. I have a lot of faith in Shane Ray. I think you and I share that. I really
think
like
he comes
him.
back and he just makes some heroic plays that make us like love his time with us. Close off the chapter, man. Like make it worth it. We put our faith in you when you were a question mark, when you were dropping. So it's like, see him, if he's gonna go and get paid, you need to go out this year and you need to put lights out for us, and you need to show teams around the NFL that you can contribute, and not have that be a question mark. Like come in and make some big moments, that just start some game change, shifting the tide. Like, I think he's gonna come back and hit some of those moments. He knows he has to. So if he's not the Shane Ray that we all hoped he was, then he won't. But if he is, he's gonna come. He'll come in big a couple times in this year.
Yep. Do you want to know something that I just found out for the very first time?
Of course.
I just learned something. So in the Broncos Super Bowl 50 season, they had 52 sacks, led the NFL, greatest defense in my opinion ever. Guess what other Broncos team had 52 sacks?
I don't know.
The 2012 Denver Broncos. With Von Miller, Elvis Dumervil, Derek Wolfe leading the way. Miller had 18.5 that year. Dumervil had 11. Boy. Wow. That's crazy to me.
Wow.
That was the last year those two were together, and it was that a lot of people will underrate that 2012 team. I mean, even me. Just if somebody is like, what's the best Peyton Manning team that never won a Super Bowl? Obviously, you're thinking, well, it's the 2013 team because they were in the Super Bowl and they didn't win it. But a lot of people think that 2012 team,
they broke the point scored record, which is a pretty big.
Yes, exactly. But that 2012 team, second in the league in points, 30.1 points per game, fourth in the league in points against. So that as a whole, and then that team also had the Trindon Holiday magic on special teams. So a lot of people think that was the best.
Teams has been good.
Dude, you're telling me, man. I don't even know if the special teams is worthy of a training camp episode. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. We'll probably just mention them at the end of one of these episodes. It's an important phase of the game. You don't realize how important it is until
it's become even more important with the addition of Marquette King.
Dancing outside the Raiders facility. That's the best thing that's happened all offseason, in my opinion. One of them, for sure. So, Von Miller, can he break 18.5? And Bradley Chubb, can he break 14.5? That's if those guys are fully healthy for all 16 games, I don't see any reason why they both can't have a sack a game. Is that unreasonable? I don't think so.
How old was Strahan when he set that benchmark?
I will look right now because that was right at the peak of his career.
I want to know what part of his career it was.
2001, Michael Strahan was 30. Von Miller's 29.
So interesting. So he may.
So Von had 10 last year. And Strahan the year before 22.5 had 9.5.
Ooh.
There's some serious parallels here.
Ooh.
And then Strahan after that, oh my gosh. After that, he had 11 in 2002, and then he came back with 18.5 in 2003. So over the span of 3 years, he had, let's see here, that's 40, 41, 42, 52. So 52 is this magic number that keeps popping up. Broncos had 52 sacks in 2012. In 2015, Michael Strahan had 52 sacks in that 3-year period from 2001 to 2003. Is there anything else 52?
Who's 52 on our team?
52. It's a new player because it was Corey Nelson. Let's look it up because that obviously now that's a very critical number.
I feel like we're like Jim Carrey in the number 23 right now.
We're finding it anywhere we can. I'm going to be searching for number 52 on the field at all times
How's he called?
Gerald Garcia Williams, a linebacker.
Gerald Garcia Williams.
Yep, he wore number
Interesting.
41 last year. I was just watching the Week 17 game. He played quite a bit, actually. Today I was watching it to get a look at Brendan Langley, another part of the Broncos defense, a potential replacement for Talib.
Mm-hmm.
It was not good. Not a good showing from Brendan Langley. Week 17. He looked, I wouldn't say disinterested in tackling, because like you can tell like Marcus Peters of the Rams, like when he was the Chiefs, he's disinterested in tackling. He has no, like, he knows he's really good at the other stuff, so he's not about to go and harm his body by tackling somebody. Brendan Langley was just flat out just missing tackles, not wrapping up properly, taking bad angles, missing tackles. Not good.
He wasn't like Revis running away from Tebow.
No. And kudos to Darrelle Revis on that being the only play that I remember from his entire career. That's all that I remember. That's the only one. I don't remember any other play. And obviously we're not Jets fans, so why would we? But I'm sure he had a pretty cool one-handed interception, didn't he?
Yeah.
I remember that. I give him some credit there.
Something else I remember where he was on like a different position. He may not have been on the person that caught the ball, but then was involved in the remainder of the play. There's something that's like in the back of my mind, but anyway, obviously I don't remember it enough.
Something, but the Tebow play.
Yep,
I remember that.
Oh yeah.
Yep, I absolutely remember that. So Broncos defense for 2018, it hinges on the pass rush, which I think is going to be great. I think you got a fully healthy Derek Wolfe, got Shelby Harris coming back. He was one of the team's better interior pass rushers. I think DeMarcus Walker second in sacks.
5.5.
I think DeMarcus Walker's going to thrive, man. I do.
Yep.
I don't understand why they put him at outside linebacker last year, because when you watch him in college, he was way better inside than outside, and even then that was a defensive end, you know?
That was Joe Woods misusing his characters in season 1.
Correct. And that has to be rectified, and it is. Walker's back up to his normal weight of like 280 pounds.
Yep.
The situation with Adam Gotsis, I don't know. I mean, you just hope to God that he's not guilty. And if he is guilty, that justice will be served. That's the only way that you can put it with that, because that's just crazy. But he was really good last year as a player. But from a football evaluation perspective, Adam Gotsis was probably one of the most improved players on the team last year.
And that's what they expected with him.
Yeah.
They thought he was really raw. And
everyone laughed at that pick. Remember that?
If you have somebody that, wasn't it somebody, one of the position coaches was like salivating to get him, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And it was like they knew, well aware that he didn't know what the heck he was doing, but they saw that they could train and form him into a weapon of mass destruction. Yep.
And he became one of the team's best run defenders last year. Like you mentioned, the run defense, one of the best in the league. If not, I would argue it was the best in the league, despite they weren't number one in total rushing yards allowed, but the Broncos did rank number one in yards per carry allowed. Mm-hmm. And teams tried to run the ball against them. They did. So it's not like they were, they didn't have a lot of opportunity.
The no-fly zone was your pass in Von Miller, and you're going to want to run against the Broncos. You're not going to want to. You're not going into that game like we're going to pass all over them. So that's impressive. Exactly. They were able to do what they did.
Yeah, 3.3 yards a carry last year. That's what they averaged as a run defense, which is, just suffocating for opposing teams. It's hard to overcome throughout the course of a game, and so that makes it all more impressive that they were able to lose 11 games in a bad way. Right. When your run defense is that good. So I feel like it's going to be a revival. I love, for some reason, the fact that Derek Wolfe is fully healthy keeps sticking out to me as one of the best things that's happening to this team.
There's just so many high ceiling situations. I don't know if I said that right, but it's there's a lot of where were underrated in a lot of ways. And
Yep.
it's like most of them hinge on players continuing to underperform.
Right.
Like a lot of players continuing to underperform. And that's really significant, because what that means is that you have something there. And that's where this season, what we see come out of that, some of those maybe more dormant players, or some of those people we expected to contribute that were more silent, is who do we have as a coaching staff? That's going to be, right there. What do they get out of these guys in season 2? What do they? Otherwise, you got to fire the showrunner and you got to replace him with a new showrunner and get some fresh blood in there to freaking lead the writing team.
And that's a very real possibility. I mean, it's make or break, for all these guys. For Vance,
this is LeBron James entertainment we're talking about right now.
This is if LeBron doesn't like what he sees, he will fire. Yeah. He will fire, and Maverick Carter will be at the center of it.
Man, I like this future too much.
I do too. I'm with you there. I think that could be. I mean, that could be part of the Madden story, which we'll touch on at length in the upcoming episode.
So,
yes,
got a couple things for you.
Yes.
So I want to know, who are your 3 personal favorite Broncos?
Current players on the team.
Current players on the team. Who are your new 3 favorites?
All right, so these are jersey, like these are guys like I'm rocking the jersey. Is that what we're talking?
Favorite dudes, man.
All right, is it okay to go with obvious, picks?
Of course.
All right, so Von Miller is my number one guy. Love Von Miller. I think on the opposite end of the spectrum, from a guy who was picked so high expectations, franchise changer from the start. We all knew that that's who Von Miller was going to be. I love Chris Harris Jr. For other reasons. But the fact that he was given a $2,000 signing bonus, coming out of college. I have a Chris Harris Jr. jersey. He exemplifies to me humility as an NFL player,
right?
And just being willing to not get the accolades for being great. He definitely is vocal about it.
Yeah,
but at the same time, he uses it as fuel. He doesn't dwell on it. He's not sitting on Twitter complaining all the time. He's out there working harder to be the best that he can possibly be. So I love Chris Harris Jr. Those would be my top 2 for sure. And I'm trying to think of a number 3 off the top of my head. I have a Jake Butt jersey for more reasons than, just the fact that I think he's going to be a good player.
You're going to say that you like Jake Butt more than Josie?
No, I can't do that.
Josie's got to be your 3rd, right?
Josie, yeah, you're right. Because
remove all of these preconceived limitations or anybody's approval. This is your answer. This is your personal. Who are your dudes?
Yeah, so Josie and I go back, man. I mean, we're talking from the minute he stepped on the field at Iowa and probably had 50 tackles in a game, because that's just what he does. That's who he is. Josie Jewell has been one of my favorite players. I mean, if college players could make money off of their brand, which they should be able to, gosh dang it, I would have bought a Josie Jewell jersey back in 2014 when he started playing ball for the Hawkeyes. The guy just exemplifies everything you want in a football player: leadership, toughness, instincts. He just makes plays. If there's a play that needs to be made, Josie Jewell makes the dang play. And so, yeah, I mean, that 47 is going to be making a comeback into my closet, because obviously I had a John Lynch jersey back in the day, but that 47 is going to be making a comeback. And gosh, who's going to look amazing in the color rush uniforms is Josie Jewell. Man, it's my favorite jersey.
Didn't they kill him?
Well, they can still use them. They're not strictly for Thursday night game. They're not doing the promotional, like, hey, Thursday night is color rush night, but they're still going to wear the uniform.
They have the option to wear them if they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, they just make those our home jerseys, man.
I'm telling
You
you.
know that's what I play in Madden as.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
here's my policy, and this is how it's been for I think two years in a row, because I think last year was when they first brought him in. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
2 years ago, yeah.
I use those ones, the color rush jerseys, as my home jerseys
Yeah.
throughout the year, and my playoff jerseys every year are all blue.
Yes.
Home playoff games, I do the all blues.
Yep. I agree with that.
It's my thing. Like, I never play as blue with blue jerseys during the season. It's only home hosted playoff games. I'm in the championship all blues. It's like my trademark.
Yeah. Those are dope.
Okay,
I love
so
them. All right. Who are your three?
follow up. Okay, yeah, all right. I'll say my three. Vaughn and
Yep.
Chris Harris for
Yep.
sure. And
Yep.
I would, I think that's just tough to say too. I love Chris Harris, and I've just loved his underdog story. And my whole first connection with him, I always remember, was the year where it was the miserable off season because nothing happened for so long.
Yep.
Because it was the strike or something like that.
Yeah, there was the works. Well, they didn't technically get to a work stoppage, but yeah, it was the collective bargaining agreement wasn't agreed to.
There was no news. There was nothing going on. And I remember, and I know you were right there too, is that as soon as the draft ended and the players were all signing, and that was the first time I followed NFL mocks. Was that night, was that day. And I remember as soon as the first tweet hit and Broncos signed this guy Chris Harris, I was following all the guys, as they were grabbed. And I remember I followed Chris Harris like right that night. We grabbed him as undrafted free agent. So it's been really cool to see, like, he was the dude that year.
Yep.
It was our undrafted streak continuing before I get really bummed that stupid year a few years ago that we lost that streak.
Yes. Yeah,
it's
they should have.
A bummer.
They should have kept it alive in any way possible.
15 out of 16 of the past years, we've had undrafted rookies. Like, that's our stat now.
Yep.
Instead of
every year.
Just that one, that freaking stinking single season. Okay, so then, to be honest, let's think about this. I'm thinking DT would have been my answer.
Mm-hmm.
And none of the rookies are like, I think Cortland Sutton's gonna climb his way into my heart.
Yeah.
And then even Bradley Chubb, he's got that joke and personality, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
King could climb into 3. I think firmly 1 and 2 are Vaughn and Harris.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking at this point right now, I'm gonna go with my boy Case Keenum.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
Like, the more and more I learn about this guy's personality and hear him talk, like, he's not the most cerebral quarterback, which is certainly a quality that I like. But everything else, like, I just like hearing him talk. He seems like such a good dude. Like, somebody to get behind. Somebody, like, he speaks from a place of certainty. He's always got that goofy smile. Like, he's I'm all aboard the Case train, man.
I completely agree. I'm going to training camp here when it opens, or shortly after it opens, and I'm going to be on the prowl for a number 4 jersey. Because why not, man? Just jump on board the Case train.
Jump on board the Case train. Okay, follow-up question to that is pick one of those 3 guys to trade away, and who would you replace him with?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. Well,
one of your 3 favorites.
I know, seriously. Well, since he's done nothing yet, I'll have to go Jewel, man. I'm so attached to Vaughn and Harris.
Right, smart move.
Just because those guys, they brought a title, man.
It's not the most long-term move.
Right.
Because think 5 years from now, who's contributing more to the Denver Broncos, Josie Jewell or Chris Harris? But it's okay.
Yeah.
So Josie Jewell, who are you replacing him? Who are you replacing him with?
Oh boy, currently on the roster?
No, we're talking NFL. We're trading him.
All right, we're trading him for another player. Ooh. Okay. Let's see.
And don't get too wild, like
No, I won't
let's
get
stick within the
out of the realm.
Josie Jewell neck of the woods. Who's another guy that you'd be satisfied with replacing him with?
Coming out of this year's draft, a guy that I really did like was BYU's Fred Warner, who got picked up by the 49ers. Just an
That's good to know.
athletic player who's got great range. He can blitz, he can cover. Different type of linebacker than Josie Jewell, but capable of doing some of the same things. He's not going to rack up as many tackles as Josie will, but that would have been the guy that if the Broncos could have got, if they would have drafted Fred Warner and not gotten Josie Jewell, I might have been a bit disappointed, but I would have been excited for the pick.
Right.
What about who would you trade away, and how would they be replaced?
So I definitely wouldn't trade Case Keenum for Kirk Cousins.
Wow, exactly.
Isn't that becoming the truth, man?
Oh my gosh. Everything I see about Kirk Cousins, I'm like, man, we dodged a bullet. I've texted you probably 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. You send me Kirk Cousins screenshots, and you're just like, dude look at this travesty.
What?
And it's subtle things. It's like, come on, Kurt. Like it's not obvious stuff. It's just like,
right.
That's not hashtag not my quarterback. You know.
Okay, yeah. So the last thing that I sent you about Kirk Cousins was, he polled his followers on Twitter like the top 5 sports movies of all time, or top 6, or whatever the heck it was, and he replied to somebody's list and said, "That's a strong list. I forgot about all the Rocky movies. Those are iconic." It's like you what? What, the Rocky movies? Like, what's wrong with you, man? And then, dude, the Vita Ice, like Gruden QB camp. For some reason, have you seen those yet? By the way,
no.
Oh my gosh, you need to hop to that on YouTube.
Give me a preview.
Yeah, just YouTube. Kirk Cousins, Kyle Lauletta thing. Like it's like a quarterback. It's basically Gruden's QB camp with Kirk Cousins. And first of all, for some reason I can't stop watching, but the intro to the show is like a really bad remake of like an old Real World intro where Kirk Cousins is giving these one-liners and he just comes across so entitled. Oh, dude, you are going to love it.
This sounds like beautifully terrible.
Yes. It is. It's beautifully terrible, and the intro to the show is exactly what you would expect it to be from Cousins. And there's just some highlights from within this. I mean, each episode is like 10 minutes long, and so they're giving highlights from the episodes in an intro to a show that's 10 minutes. But it's just there's great stuff in there. My favorite. First of all, the show is brought to you by Claire Brune Vita Ice, which. If our show is ever sponsored by Clear Brew and Vita Ice, you better believe my fridge is going to be full of Clear Brew and Vita Ice. But just the fact, I mean, it seems like just the perfect endorsement deal for Kirk Cousins. It's flavored, sparkling water. Right. That's essentially a microcosm of what he is as a quarterback.
He is essentially, in his essence, sparkling flavored water.
And
commercialized
sparkling
flavored water.
Well, because there's these sparkling ice drinks and that have been out for years.
Oh yeah,
years.
They're basic.
And now there's Vita Ice. They couldn't even come up with a more out there name. But yeah, the one with Kyle Lauletta.
There's no inspiration in that name right there.
No,
which is
none.
Just. And
Absolutely not.
There's going to be some uninspired football play from Mr. I Got Paid, Kirk Cousins.
Exactly. The best thing, I'll just kind of tease it a little bit. The best thing is when he brings Kyle Lauletta in. So Cousins takes pride in driving this old beat up vehicle. We've all seen the stories that have been done about it, how it makes him seem like this big humble guy. Well, Kirk Cousins may have this old beat up car that he drives, but he also has a Marina View film room out in California or wherever the heck it is.
Yeah.
And he's in there talking to Kyle Lauletta. You throw enough touchdown passes, you get yourself a Marina View. And I'm like, I'm telling you, man, dude,
yeah, I remember you telling me about this.
you got to watch it. It's amazing. It's incredible how pompous he comes off.
Someday, if you're good enough.
Yeah, if you're good enough.
What I have.
Exactly.
You can be as great as me someday if you put your heart to it. If you seek your dreams, you might someday equate to my value.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Remember right before he signed, when he made that blog post, and in the tags were the New York Jets and the Minnesota Vikings. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You just want to fight the guy.
Yeah.
But you can't, because somehow he's the first NFL player ever to figure out guaranteed contracts.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible? He will make $0 in non-guaranteed money over the past 2 years and the upcoming 3 years.
Wow.
5 straight years of fully guaranteed money, cash, top 5 paid quarterback in the league.
And he's setting the standard.
Kirk Cousins, gotta hand it to him, man. Gotta hand it to him.
You gotta win somewhere.
Yeah, you do. And he's got the Vita Ice endorsement now, and he's got the Vikings, Vita Ice.
Guess what
Marina
the Vikings
View.
don't have?
What?
A case of glory called Case Keenum. Okay.
That's right. I thought you were going somewhere different. I thought you were talking about a trophy case, which they also don't have.
Yeah. They don't have a case of a lot of things that we have cases of.
Yeah, that's very true. At least 2 of the things that we have cases of, they don't have.
Right.
Oh man, I had that reminds me of this guy that used to badger me at the gym in high school. These guys used to love to give me a lot of crap.
Gym badgers.
I know, right? I know. They used to badger me at the gym all the time, and they love to poke jokes. Anytime anything bad happened to the Broncos, anything could have been anything. And so one day I had this plot, like I was gonna drop the mic before mic dropping was a thing. I wore this shirt that I had at the time, which said 2-time Super Bowl champions, Denver Broncos on it. So I wore that shirt into the gym, and these guys were Vikings and Chargers fans, respectively. And I was like, guys, I was gonna pick you up one of these shirts, but they didn't have any for your teams. And I felt really good about that as, a high school kid talking to these adults. I'm like, dude, that was a good burn for 17-year-old Sayre. Like, I was going to pick you guys up one of these shirts, but they don't make them for the Vikings or Chargers at this point. So that was a highlight for me.
Too good. That's too good.
A highlight.
Sick burn.
Dude, one more thing before we close this out. So you enlightened me to 21 Pilots. I heard him on the
Odyssey.
What's that? We did. We
went on a musical odyssey.
It was a musical odyssey, and I was very very appreciative of that. I a lot of what I do centers around one specific type of music, and so if it's not being just blown in my face of like, hey, you got to listen to this. Like that's what happened with like Ed Sheeran. Someone's like, you got to listen to Ed Sheeran. So I was like, all right, I'll take some time and I'll listen to Ed Sheeran.
Yep.
Boom, one of my favorite artists in the world.
Yep.
Well, I'd heard a couple of songs on the radio from 21 Pilots, and that was it. That was the extent of it. And now here we are. Now I feel like I'm one of their biggest fans, thanks to the odyssey that we went on.
We began in the early stages back when they were nobodies, and listened to a few good ones, and crossed over through the years and saw the musical progression. And the guy's just a great lyricist, and it is my favorite band, and the one I want to see live the most in concert at Red Rocks. of course.
Mm.
I'm not seeing him. I'm not seeing him anywhere but Red Rocks. There's actually a night I sat on my dad's balcony and 21 Pilots was there playing, and my dad lived close enough to Red Rocks to where I was watching the light show, and I was like, it was like a so close but so far moment that was just like almost torture to watch. But yes, we went on a buddy journey and listened to some tracks together. I did a little commentary, because kind of explaining some of the song subjects or backstories and whatnot. And we had a cool Odyssey, and you got exactly out of it what I was hoping you would. And not only did you enjoy it personally, just for, just a band for you to listen to, but you as a musician were challenged, I think, a lot by how unique their approaches to their musical structure and a lot of things. You were pointing things out that I didn't even know. Like, I've listened to these songs like so many times, and you're like, oh, they just did this, that, and this here, and I'm like, oh snap, yeah, they did. Wow, they did just do that. So it was cool. You were teaching me stuff, but you got a great experience out of it. You came out of it saying that you think you just found your favorite band, which was my experience with them as well. So that was awesome. That was like, kind of had a feeling. I was like, I think you're going to like these guys a lot, like I did. Yeah. But it's definitely something to where you do got to go on the journey. And it's almost like eating sushi, man. Like, you can't scar somebody with a bad first experience.
No.
You got to take them through. You got to initiate them. And then before you know it, they're going to be going and hitting freaking, happy hour sushi and going on their own and doing their own thing. But if a bad sushi experience, then somebody doesn't like sushi for the rest of their life.
Exactly.
So you can approach it the wrong way, but we approached it the right way, and we came out of it like thinking that you found your favorite band. So that's mission complete.
Yep. I remember when I was a kid, my dad used to play just all these different iconic bands that he grew up listening to, like what I do as hobbies now. Like, my dad's hobbies back then were music, and so like he introduced to me the Beatles, the Ramones, Queen, all these bands that that people know they're big hits, but do you know the deep tracks? Do you know the deep tracks for these bands? And I want to have.
Wow, so I kind of took you on that journey.
Yeah, yep.
Through the deep tracks.
Have those experiences to give to my kids someday. I want to be like, oh yeah, awesome. Everybody knows this this song by 21 Pilots. Everybody knows this song by Ed sheeran. Everybody knows this song by blah blah blah. But
right. And that's even some of their songs. We were discussing this about, how they talk about how sometimes, like, for making singles and releasing singles on the radio, it's this thing you have to get so perfect. It's like this perfectionism thing where you got to get everything, all the bolts tightened and all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed. And it's like, because it's money. But then it's like, hearing something live is, this whole kind of like organic experience. So, like, when you're able to, go on that journey and not just go to the singles, the ones that were like maybe overproduced to sell the whole of the album, but some of the ones that kind of sneak under the radar, there's like this heart that's behind some of them that ends up kind of screaming louder than the others, and sometimes literally.
Right. It's impressive. The fact that he's able to do it is impressive. Rapping, screaming.
It's just so anti-genre. Like, there's so many cross genres. It's you have not, if you've heard just one or two of their songs on the radio, you have not heard them. Like, you have not. Some bands, that is the case. You hear, know their style, you get what they're generally going to do, and they're going to orbit pretty similarly around that song. 21 Pilots is like a whole different experience. You may have seen one snapshot photograph by hearing a single on the radio, but what was the example I used before? That's like, you got a picture of the Bahamas, and because you've been to the Bahamas, like, what Cairo, Egypt is like. It's a completely different snapshot photograph from a totally different trip, different vacation. And that's how each of their songs are. And yet there's still a thread that runs through them. It's really cool. Yeah.
That's what I appreciated the most. The common thread that comes into play, the overarching story, the just thematically, lyrically, it was all great. It was phenomenal.
So if you haven't gone on that roller coaster ride,
if you haven't,
find a local 21 Pilots friend, or
is that a $5? Is that a $5 for you?
Ooh, like set it as a yeah.
We're bringing it back full circle.
Take you on the journey.
Brandon will design the Denver Broncos sign as well as take you on a 21 Pilots journey for a double $5.
I could get on Microsoft Paint and come up with something better than they did. I'll say that.
Dude, I was literally making alternate ones on my Insta story.
Yeah.
It's the same font.
Yeah.
Same exact font.
Yeah.
It's a hilarious exercise.
It's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be that
way.
It
is. You know what's not terrible? The Denver Broncos defense.
You're right.
And it's going to be exciting to see those guys out on the field. Training camp opens up for the rookies. They report on the 24th, which boggles my mind. As of this recording, that's less than a week.
Crazy.
And the veterans report on the 28th.
We're almost through the dark times, man.
We are. The dark times were daunting about a month and a half ago when we first mentioned them, and now it's like, wait, where did the dark times go? I feel like we missed it.
Telling you, man, we hit a J.J. Abrams wormhole.
We did.
Got shot forward into the future where the Broncos are on deck ready to take the league by storm and win the Super Bowl. I don't know what happened, man.
That's right. You want to hear a really crazy stat of the day?
Of course I do.
We're just over 3 months away from Halloween.
3 months.
3 months. Nuts.
Wow.
Nuts.
Wow. That means we're like 6 months away from winning our 4th Super Bowl.
That's right. And that means that we'll need a 4th owner in the storyline that we've created, which maybe that could just be us holding
me and you
together trophy.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Because we called it out first. With, this one's for Braun.
If it ever happens, if any of that ever happens, we are going to refer back to this episode, and it will be our claim to fame.
Oh, it'll go viral.
Yep. Oh, well, this has been great, man. It's been awesome. I love football being in the air again. I'm excited to watch preseason football. I am. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I think a lot. If you're listening to this, you're probably excited to watch preseason football with us, and we're gonna talk about it.
If you're this deep into our podcast, you're pumped for preseason.
Oh, absolutely. Or hi, Mom. Oh man. Yeah. Well,
and say hi to ourselves. You know,
hey guys.
We'll listen to it. So
absolutely we will, because we want to get better. We want to get better always.
I hope you're better than me, future self. I hope you found a way to find what I haven't found.
Yep. Continue getting better.
To cross the seas that I have yet to be able to cross.
Yes. Amen. Amen.
There's some existential musings going on here on the juice.
Yep. That's what we do.
Seeking out the mysteries of the Force here.
Yep. We're breaking that fourth wall. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is there a fifth wall? I don't know.
Tune in next time.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
yes, always good times on the juice. So if you are still listening, wherever you're listening, however you're listening, we just want to thank you. I want to thank you for engaging in Broncos discussion with us. We want to thank you for taking the time to be with us. Shoot us any questions that you might have. I'm on Twitter at Sayre Bedinger, Instagram, same handle. Brandon's on Instagram and Twitter at Epic Keckler. We'd love to just talk Broncos with you. We'd love to talk anything in general. I mean, I feel like you and I have the gift of finding common ground with people.
Agreed.
So we can find common ground. Whatever you're interested in, I will fake being interested in it. I can fake my way around stuff. So
I can create false passion.
I can be passionate about anything. If you'll just talk to me.
I create well-crafted illusions.
Yes.
To
Yes.
make me feel safe.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
Well,
thanks everybody. Really appreciate all the, you don't never know how much really support you actually have.
mhm.
I know there's people out there listening, and I'm looking forward to some tweets, man. I'm
Yeah.
feeling a little fan lonely. I need some feedback.
Yeah. The key there is maybe a Twitter.
I'll settle for like a tomato emoji,
Yeah.
like throw a tomato
Yeah.
at me. But
Even
actually,
if it's
I guess
negative.
these days tomatoes are good. That's crazy. Rotten Tomatoes just changed the game.
They
Because it
did.
used to be where like tomato would represent like I want to throw a tomato at you because you're terrible.
Mhm.
But now, if it's not rotten, if it's tomato, you're good.
Yeah. It's the golf of evaluation.
Wow.
Mm,
Wow. We're crossing some deep territory here, man.
we are. If you understand that reference, you are officially part of the team.
You are officially part of the team. Well, thanks everybody. This is unless you have anything else to say, Sarah.
No. Mm-mm.
This is Brandon Keckler and Sayre Bedinger, as always, here on the Juice. I think we're on episode
10.
10?
Yeah.
10?
Next episode will feature Jeffrey Essery again. He's back.
Jeff is back for episode 10. Well, thank you, everybody. Or no, he's back for 10, or this is 10?
This is 10. He's back for 11.
All right.
Mhm.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us on episode 10 of the Juice. We appreciate you hanging out with us. As always, share with other people that would also enjoy our little Juice community we're building. And we're excited to chat with you next time about the Denver Broncos offense. Pumped for training camp, pumped for the season, pumped for dominance, pumped to take over the world, pumped for the Game of Thrones to begin. As always, Brandon Keckler and Sayre Bedinger, God bless, and go Broncos.